HB 4373 with Senate Committee Amendment Number 1. First, let's adopt the amendment. Senator Ellman moves to adopt Senate Committee Amendment Number 1 to HB 4373. Is there leave to adopt the amendment? Thank you. With leave, the amendment is adopted. I don't see on my computer any witnesses that have been filed. So we're going to, oh, wait. Breaking news. Oh. We have 8 proponents, 49 opponents, and 0 with no position. Now, Senator Morrison, you may begin explaining the bill.
Thank you, Chairman Fine. I would ask your indulgence to please add Senator Plummer to the roll call. And I'd like to present from my seat, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
Thank you. This amendment actually creates the Motor Vehicle Glass Repair Act. It has several provisions in it that I believe provide some consumer protection. And I would ask Ben Whipple if he would come forward and provide some testimony this evening.
Good afternoon. My name is Ben Whipple. I represent Safe Light Group, which is, I'm sure you've seen them on TV. They're Safe Light Auto Glass people. Thank you for your time on this bill today. I'll give you the very short headline, and I'm very happy to answer any questions. So the short version of what this bill does, and it's a product of NCOIL, which I know you're all familiar with, and 15 months of negotiations. It passed out of there unanimously. It's passed now in 8 states of various political shades, and so we view this as nonpartisan. But the very short version is this. Your car, I should be louder.
Yeah, please.
Forgive me, your car has an ADAS system, unless you drive an old car. If you have a fairly modern car, it's got this thing, and what that is the series of radars and cameras and all those things that help with your cruise control speed, and it beeps when you get close to stuff, and some cars almost drive themselves, and a lot of that is housed behind your rear view mirror. All right, so if you repair your windshield, in some cases, certainly if you replace it, that all has to be recalibrated, and has to be done so according to the manufacturer's specifications. Otherwise, you have effectively a dangerous car because it's not doing what you expect it to do. Think about if you're coming down here driving 70 miles an hour or faster. If it's off by just a little bit, it's going to be off by a lot in terms of distance in the real world. And so what this bill does at its heart is it says, if you're going to have your windshield replaced, you can go to any auto glass shop of your choice, and that glass shop has to do a insurance claim with you. So you file your insurance claim so everybody knows what's covered before the work starts. And they have to tell you whether or not this work will require recalibration of your ADAS system. Sometimes it doesn't. And if it does, whether they're going to do it or maybe they refer you to a subcontractor that they work with or you go to a dealership, all of which is fine, but they want you to be up to date on what's going to happen before the work starts. And then after it's done, they have to tell you whether it was done and whether it was done properly. And if not, you'll then presumably bring it to a dealership to get it fixed so that you know if it wasn't calibrated right, that your car isn't going to work the way you expect it to. So that's the heart of it. At the end of the day, it ought to be consumer protection because it allows the consumer to understand what's going to happen to them and in terms of what's covered, in terms of what work needs to be done before somebody starts working on their car. So you can work all that out in advance. And that's the headline. I'm very happy to address any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there anybody else, any of the proponents or opponents who would like to testify in the bill? Please come forward. And please state your name and your affiliation.
Good evening. My name is Adam Ethington. I am the Director of Government Affairs for the National Insurance Crime Bureau. The National Insurance Crime Bureau is a national, century-old, not-for-profit organization supported by approximately 1,200 property and casualty insurance companies, including many who write in business in Illinois, over 400 of them. NICB works hand-in-hand with our member companies and Illinois law enforcement to help detect, prevent, and deter insurance crimes and fraud, including vehicle crimes. Insurance fraud is a crime that impacts all consumers. A 2022 study placed total U.S. insurance fraud at $308 billion. Fraudsters will exploit every avenue, forum, and opportunity to bilk consumers and their insurers to line their own pockets, which ultimately increases costs for everyone. Predatory tactics by unscrupulous auto glass repair contractors, for example, continue to be widespread. Predatory tactics by unscrupulous auto glass repair contractors continue to be a widespread problem across the country, including in Illinois. An example of one particularly egregious practice is when unscrupulous glass repair shops charge for recalibration of advanced driver assistance systems when not warranted, fraudulently charging for the service and not performing the work. Another tool these bad actors use to exploit consumers is a post-loss assignment of benefits, which allows repair shops to take control of the consumer's insurance benefits, seek direct payments from the consumer's insurance provider, and file civil action. Dishonest repair shops often utilize high-pressure tactics and deceit to pressure consumers to agree to sign over their insurance benefits, which then creates the incentive for the contractor to drive up repair costs even higher. When consumers are cut out of the claims process, predatory contractors and repair shops are emboldened to engage in inflated billing and other fraudulent activity. Ben explained what the bill does mostly, so I'll skip that part, but happy to take any questions relating to fraud in this space.
Thank you. Would any of the opponents like to present? If you could please come forward. And please state your name and your affiliation.
Jason Ledke. I am the owner of Northwest Illinois Auto Glass in Forston, Illinois. I want to thank you for the opportunity this evening. I am here respectfully to oppose House Bill 4373 as currently drafted. As an independent auto glass shop, we support consumer protection, we support safety, we support transparency, we support stopping real fraud wherever it exists. But House Bill 4373 is not balanced. It places new restrictions and burdens on independent glass shops. We're failing to address the conduct of insurers, third-party administrators, and insurers aligned networks that already control much of the glass claim process. This bill is being promoted under the claim that widespread fraud by glass shops is the major problem in this industry. From our perspective, that allegation is not supported by what we see every day. The real problems our industry faces involve steering, late payments, short payments, claim interference, pricing pressure, authorization delays, and consumers being pushed towards preferred providers during the claim process. SafeLight and its partners may deny these problems exist, but independent shops experience them directly. When a company involved in a glass claims administration also benefits from glass repair replacement work, lawmakers should be very cautious about passing legislation that gives the claim control side even more power. House Bill 4373 will contain several provisions that would harm independent shop consumers. It restricts post-loss authorization tools that help customers direct payment and allow shops to resolve short pays, supplement denials, and claim disputes. It requires a claim or referral number before a shop can fully contract with their customer, which pushes the consumer into the insurer or TPA claim system before the independent shop can fully assist them. And while the bill says customers have a right to choose, it does not provide strong enough protections against steering when the claim is first reported. That is when consumers are most often pressured or redirected. At the very least, the only part of this bill that appears to serve clear consumer safety purpose is the notification requirement related to ADAS and recalibration. Consumers should be told when calibration may be required. They should know whether it was performed, not performed, or recommended. That part can stand on its own as a safety notification. But that narrow safety issue should not be used to pass a much broader bill that ensures TPAs and insurance-aligned networks more control over independent shops and consumers. For these reasons, I respectfully ask the committee to oppose House Bill 4373, hold the bill, or adopt the balanced amendments recommended by the Independent Glass Association. Illinois consumers deserve real choice. Independent shops deserve a fair market. The bill should not move forward unless it is substantially changed. Thank you for your time. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Are there any questions from the committee? Senator Johnson.
Thank you for testifying, really appreciate it. So with the independent shops, and you represent independent shop, are you required to be certified to handle advanced driver assistance program systems?
There's technically not a certification at this time, which again, we would not be opposed to. I will speak for my shop particularly. We are trained by the manufacturer of our equipment that we use, but it is not a, so to speak, nationally accredited, certification. But that would be definitely an amendment that could be added to this, because it would, potentially, cause other issues that haven't been discussed.
Thank you. The only reason I'm asking is for someone who has had their windshield replaced 4 times in a very short period of time. It's my understanding that it needed to be recalibrated. So in your testimony, you mentioned it may or it could be, at least my vehicle, it had to be, it should have been, and it would have been an issue otherwise. So what do you say about that?
Well, by saying may need to be recalibrated, because not, well, and as the representative from SafeLight mentioned earlier, not every vehicle on the road today has the new technology. So by saying it may need to be required, not every windshield installation through insurance or not through insurance requires, recalibration. Mm-hmm. And if a shop was to charge for a recalibration on a vehicle that doesn't require it, that would be fraud. And I'm not aware of any widespread fraudulent activity including that. Again, with the ADAS portion of it, we should be supplying documentation proving that the recalibration was done as the manufacturer recommends, and that cannot be done with a vehicle that doesn't require it.
Thank you.
Senator Walker.
Thank you. You mentioned that there were some recommended amendments from your perspective that would be positive. Can you give me a flavor of just what they might entail?
You should have all received that. Okay. It was sent to every committee member as far as the individual proposed amendments from Gary Hart at the Independent Glass Association.
Well, thank you. We'll find them.
If needed, we can address, I can definitely make sure that you all have them.
Thank you, Senator Preston.
You mentioned a concern with this legislation is regarding steering, and I'm pretty sensitive to that. Small business owners they don't benefit from that. But what evidence, what are you drawing that off of, the steering provision? Because as I read the legislation, certain provisions explicitly, lay out a process in which no one is steered. So maybe I'm misreading that, or I'm failing to see something that you all see in the legislation. I'd like you to speak to that a bit more.
Well, one thing to make mention is listed in the bill is the term referral. The only company in the industry that uses the term referral is SafeLight. SafeLight Solutions Network is owned by SafeLight Auto Glass. So in this bill, all of you would be agreeing that SafeLight Solutions would have to render their approval in order for any glass claim to ever reach the hands of an independent shop.
Can you speak to this? Is that?
Ben Whipple again on behalf of SafeLight. So we take, can you hear me this time? We take steering seriously. It's illegal under federal law. This bill specifically says that you can pick whatever glass shop or calibration shop, if you pick separate companies to do that, that you want. The point of requiring the insurance claim before the work gets started is to make sure that, just as I'm sure you do, that the customer is crystal clear about what will be covered by insurance before the work gets started. And, goodness forbid that there's a disagreement there that's resolved before your windshield's been taken off your car, right? So that's the idea behind it. If anybody's committing steering, it's already illegal under federal law. And this specifically says that you can't start it under state law. And even if this said to the contrary, it wouldn't matter because it's federal law overdoes state law. So if there are concerns about steering, we could talk about them, but this doesn't allow steering, which is already illegal. So that would be our perspective on that.
May I?
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Any further questions? I just have a quick question. You mentioned the TPA system. What is that?
That would be, an example would be SafeLight Solutions, third-party administrator. Unfortunately, in the auto glass industry, there is no direct line between insurance companies and independent glass shops. We are forced to deal with our competitor at the mercy of every glass claim. Well, I'll use a generic figure of around 90% now. So that is where we address the steering issue, because we have to not only get the referral number from our competitor in order to take care of our insureds, but then we have to also rely on what SafeLight dictates we get paid. They also dictate when we get paid. We're at their mercy on every stage of the game. I don't know of another industry in this country that allows one individual conglomerate to monopolize every single claim. I don't know of another industry. If somebody here would like to mention one that's similar, I would love to hear it.
So let me understand then. So every claim goes to SafeLight, and SafeLight determines who is going to do the work?
There are other third-party administrators. They are by far the largest. I would say, roughly 90% at this time. I don't know the exact number. That's just a rough. But they are by far the largest. But yes, it goes directly through them when we are at, and when I say we, I speak for every independently owned glass shop, not only in the state of Illinois, but in the United States. We are 100% at their mercy, and this bill will only give them more control to cripple us.
So I would just say, obviously, that's not the intent here. We don't want to cripple anybody. So there's a lot to unpack there, and we're coming back anyway, and so I'm happy to talk about it later if we'd like to do that. But, again, steering is illegal. We don't do that, so.
Okay, it just sounds like there might need to be some clarification.
I understood.
Yeah, and we're happy to discuss, amendments to this bill that would help clarify that.
Senator Plummer.
Thank you. The other TPAs, I know you mentioned they're smaller. Do they also have the other service arms that Safe Light has, or are they strictly TPAs?
No, they are not nationwide auto glass installers, so therefore the steering isn't the factor. Quite honestly, I've been in the industry for over 20 years, and I don't know how this was ever allowed to begin with, how the stronghold of the nation's largest TPA, third-party administrator for all glass claims, was also allowed to be owned by the world's largest auto glass installer. I mean, you guys can figure it out for yourself. If you think that sounds fair, would you want to be in my shoes?
Any other questions? Senator Morrison, would you like to close?
So based on some of the conversation we've had this evening and some of the testimony, I'm asking the committee to pass this bill out with my assurance I will be bringing an amendment back. And all parties are more than welcome to try to develop that together. But I would ask for your aye vote and a guarantee to bring back an amendment.
Thank you. Is there leave to pass the bill with the assurance that it will come back for an amendment? Okay. With leave being granted, the bill will be so reported. Senator Glowiak-Hilton moves that do pass as amended for HB 4373, Senate Committee Amendment Number 1. And there is leave. Leave has been granted. And now I'm going to give the chair back to Senator Morrison.
Thank you.
And with no further business to come before our committee this evening, we stand adjourned.